You know what your job is, preachers? You know what your job is? Your job is to help me preach. That's your job. Every preacher in here while I'm preaching ought to have their mouth open, hollering, "Preach, Bishop," because it helps me to pull. This is a pulpit. That means I got to pull people from the pit. Will you help me pull people from the pit? Instead of looking at me all crazy. Come on, be seated. Some of us are we are so interested in who we're going to be. Good God. Who you going to be? You can't be no more than what you are. If God don't make you anybody unique, you're not going to be any more than what you are. And God cannot make you who you want to be unless he releases you to a whole lot of suffering, because suffering is like fire. It burns out the impurities. It don't make no difference what nobody in the church ever did to you. When you hear about Sunday morning coming, you ought to just start shouting because it's Sunday. I don't know how many couples I got in here that went through some problems. Somebody took their husband or their wife or whatever it was, and I had to minister to people and try to get them to stay in the church. And sometimes they get married to somebody else, and sometimes they whatever, but I look around, I get excited because I see the one that somehow or another went through hell. And the one that went through hell is still up in here shout. The one that went through hell is shouting, and sometimes I think he or she might be shouting because they finally got rid of the problem that they had. They're walking around, they're glad it's not them anymore. God will always elevate you. If you stand right with God, God will always elevate you. But when God elevates you, he elevates you to a place called suffering.
That's right. Come on.
He talks about serve the Lord with gladness. That's really what it's all about. If you can't serve God with gladness, there's no other way to serve him. You're not doing anything. You're just in here hurting people's feelings by sitting up in pulpits looking like you've been sucking on lemons all night long. While folk are looking to you, then it falls on me. It falls on me. Here I am carrying the weight of 5,000 to 6,000 people every Sunday. And while I'm preaching, every once in a while I make the fatal mistake to look back, see if you're with me. To have the nerve to think that somebody might be helping me pull. But you know what? If you don't help me pull, I got angels that while I'm pulling folk from the gates of hell will come down and put their hands on me.